All right, welcome everybody. It's Jennifer Gilman here from the Herbal Cabinet, and I am a holistic health coach. I work with my clients through coaching, classes, and the doTERRA products. Most of you are in my essential oil community, so I'm so glad you jumped on to a topic that is possibly new for you. And I'd love for you to put in the chat box if you've ever implemented Feng Shui techniques, because we will be talking about that. I'm just curious where you're at with that. You might have heard of Feng Shui. You might have completely done your home and your space Feng Shui and just want to get brushed up on skills. Or you might be in the middle part of that, of just like, well, I tried it out, but didn't really get it. And you just want a little more clarification on this age-old Chinese philosophy. So I'd love to see what you guys are. Let me open that up. Amy says a long time ago, Elaine's never implemented it. Great. So we're getting really, I'm so glad that you guys are on today. It's a good time of year to think about bringing balance to your home. Penny says, I have not, just haven't on the boat. I felt overwhelmed. Yep, that makes sense. So great. So that way I know where we're at. So again, the topic is bringing balance to the home. And today we're going to discuss ways to create balance in the home, especially during these crazy times, right? We don't want them to be so crazy because we don't know what the new norm is really going to be. So a certain acceptance is really good, but you can do a lot about the space you're in. So acceptance with also gaining control of your life and the way you feel about it from day to day. We're going to be drawing on this philosophy of Feng Shui, but are also going to be intermingling the doTERRA essential oils because, of course, right, that's a huge part of my business is the doTERRA oils. And I love bringing that sensory experience to everyone because whenever you can have an experience and it's heightened by aroma, it is much more full of an experience. So, of course, that's why we're putting that into today's topic. And I'll give you some great recipes. Now, keep in mind, I'm recording this. So as you have registered, like I said, there was 22 people that registered. Some of you I know couldn't make it and just are waiting for the recording. But those of you who are on, you can take some notes, but don't stress yourself out because you can watch it again, all right? And you're going to get the recording notes and also some additional resources from me by email that you can, if you're really into this topic, you can look up additional stuff. So I will be sending that by email. So we're going to get started on this. Feng Shui is a Chinese system of laws, okay? And it's considered to kind of govern the special arrangement of how things are oriented in your space that you're in. It's all about flow of energy and not having any blockages. And did you ever walk in a room and feel kind of immediately not well? You know, have you ever felt that before? Or have you walked into a room and you're like, it's like a breath of fresh air. You feel good, all right? So this is what we want is more of that feeling good. And I'm going to go over really good tips of how you can do it. And at the end, to tackle tasks like this, it's always good to just pick one or two things. That's it. Don't try to implement it all because that will be really overwhelming, right? So I'm going to share my screen right now. And we are going to get started so that you've got some visuals to watch as well. I always like PowerPoints like this so that you can really see and it'll start bringing things into full understanding. All right. So Amy, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? It should say bring balance to your home. Does that look right?
I don't know how to do that, but yes.
Oh, okay. But you can see it, right?
Yes.
Great. That's all I needed to know. Just making sure. In the past, I'll tell you, I assume you're seeing what I see. There's been a couple of times years ago when I started using Zoom that they weren't seeing it. It was three slides later that somebody would say something and be like, I don't know what you're seeing, but we're not seeing it. Thank you, Elaine. I also saw that you put it. It looks good. So, all right. So let's see here. No, it's not moving along. Okay, here we go. Trying to get this spaced better. That looks better. All right. So, you know, Feng Shui has been around a long time, and I think it's really cool that, you know, in the Chinese philosophy, This is thousands of years. We don't really even know. It's not really measured as how long they've actually been doing this. So it is pretty cool, and you're going to learn a lot about it. So the first thing I want to mention, I'm actually going to move. Let's see here. If you need more space on your screen, you guys, you can actually, if you're looking at me and you see everyone else, you can change your speaker of how you're seeing people, and you can minimize it so that you see the screen more and me, and you can drag and drop me, to different places so that you can see this fully. But isn't this a beautiful picture? So do you feel pretty good when you look at this? It's like a designer did it, of course, right? But this also flows really well. And if you look around the space that you're in right now, around you, you want to think to yourself, you're going to picture your home, or if you're in your home, visualize water entering through the front door. Now, Elaine, I don't want you to get scared. She recently had a really horrible experience with wetness and mold and things like that in your home. So forget about that for a minute. But think about, the rest of you, just think about water flowing in and look around the space that's in your home. Would water flow smoothly and nourish the areas, or would it become blocked and stagnant? Okay. So you might not understand that quite yet, but as we go through this, go back to that scenario of water. We want it to visualize it flowing smoothly and meandering and around and feeling good, versus being blocked by something maybe sharp and blocking the energy. So I liked that visualization when it was taught to me, because I felt like I could resonate with that. All right. And open up the chat for a second. Looks good, beautiful space. Penny says peaceful. Amy's saying blocked and stagnant. So we're definitely going to give you some really good tools today. All right. Let's move forward. My screen is acting up. All right, we will manually move it. Okay. So let's see if that works better. There we go. Blocked energy. So creating a home from blocked energy will create space in your mind to become unblocked as well. And what that means is when you feel better about your space and it's unblocked, your mind, your mental wellness will feel better. And as a matter of fact, it has been shown that it is instantaneous. You move a piece of furniture, it feels better, right? And you're like, oh, that's so much better. And there is something to it. It's true. Your mental wellness will be changed just that quickly. So you can tell a lot from a person who, the way they keep their home, but you never want to judge in that way, because a lot of times that person doesn't know. They don't know how to unblock things. And that's why you're here today. You're going to get a lot of tools. And like I said, just pick one or two so that you can implement them. Now, to prepare you for unblocking, I went for a walk with someone, Josie Rivera, this morning. Some of you may know her. She's a wellness advocate in our community. And we were talking about this subject of just like preparing yourself for a goal that you're going to have, because there's a lot of mental energy that goes into that. You never want to say to yourself, oh, I love this, I'm doing it today, or I love this, I'm doing it tomorrow. There's a really good benefit of letting it sit on your mind for a day or two, or even a week, to prepare yourself to do something, because what will happen is it will go better. It won't feel so overwhelming, and you'll most likely have success. So as you're thinking about what you're going to do in the new year, think about that. Allow yourself the grace and time to prepare in your mind for whatever it is you want to do. Same thing with health and wellness goals. When it comes to like losing weight or things like that, a lot of people have that goal in the new year. You always want to mentally prepare for that. So same thing with your space. If it's feeling cluttered, you're overwhelmed, what I'd like you to do is diffuse this blend. Most of you have diffusers. If you do not, please reach out to me. I can help you get 25% off retail with the doTERRA products. The doTERRA oils are the best oils. Do not use adulterated oils, because then you're bringing toxic things into your environment, and that totally goes against Feng Shui. All right, so only doTERRA. It's the best product out there globally. All right, and that's why I chose this company 7 years ago. So really big deal to not use adulterated oils which these days most oils are. They're estimated about 95% of the oils on the market are adulterated. So don't use those. Reach out to me and get your oils 25% off, and we can get you started. So here's the recipe, you guys. It is 2 drops of lemongrass, okay? So you're gonna put in your diffuser to prepare, and allow yourself, maybe it's a day or two of diffusing this before you get started with your decluttering and starting to prepare your space, or maybe it's a week, or maybe it's 2 weeks. Allow yourself that time to get ready. So here's lemongrass. Okay, so 2 drops in the diffuser, and then you're going to do 1 drop of lime. Okay, 1 drop of lime. I'm going to tell you why in a second. And then 1 drop of Douglas fir. I love Douglas fir. So this is the Douglas fir. Okay. Now, if you have a larger diffuser, you can double that. Some of the diffusers call for 8 to 10 drops of oil. Then obviously you would use 4 drops of lemongrass, 2 lime, and 2 Douglas fir. So I want to tell you about this, and this is from my friend Desiree Mangendog from the I Am Fabulous book. All right, so she recommends this blend, and I've used it for several years. Oh gosh, probably 6, 7 years now. Anytime I want to prepare myself to clean out an area or shift the space in an area. So lemongrass creates the urge to let things go that we do not need. So we definitely need that, and no wonder we need so much of it in the diffuser. Lemongrass will also show you that you only need a few things to sustain life. You will begin to see how the Western culture is obsessed with consumption and hoarding. All right, so some of you might be laughing right now. Lemongrass is good, keep it on the list, and you're gonna put that in the diffuser. So why lime? Lime is all about having a zest for life. So lime is responsible, in this blend, it's responsible for the excitement that overflows your heart for positive change. So it's helping you to be excited about this. And then the Douglas fir opens the mind so you see your possessions with a different perspective. Your self-worth value is not attached to things. I'm going to repeat that. Your self-worth, your value is not attached to things. So really, really love this blend. It's going to help you to begin that process of unblocking the energy. All right, so decluttering versus creating space is different, all right? In the Feng Shui world, removing clutter is about creating space for things to flow. When you create that, you create space in your life, your heart, for abundance to come in, and it's welcoming new good things into your life, okay? So it's about creating space. So you're gonna start by finding a physical spot in your room to clear out, okay? It could be, and this is where I want you to have grace with yourself, it could be a drawer that you were like, I gotta get to this drawer, right? Who has a junk drawer in their house? I grew up, we always had a junk drawer, so of course I have a junk drawer. But how many people have more than one junk drawer? And maybe there's one that just aggravates the heck out of you. So you can start there, just the drawer. Or maybe it's a table, or maybe it's your refrigerator, or maybe it is a full room that you're going to actually go for. So size does not matter. Making progress is what we're looking at here. So just take time to clear that out. All right. So I want you to write down on your paper right now, what space are you going to commit to clearing out right now? So write that down, and you're going to let go of whatever isn't necessary. So just pick something small. We need to pick things small so that when we're done, we have the satisfaction. We know we did it. We felt good. We're like, oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought, because that brings in the ability to do more. Okay. Maybe it's more small spaces every week. Maybe all of a sudden you're ready to tackle something bigger. All right. So definitely write that down and go ahead and commit to it. All right. Know that things come and things go. Accepting that things are not static. And you might have already known this from the past. Maybe you dove in and you did everything amazing. A year later, you're like, there's no sign of what you had done a year before. All of a sudden, there's so much clutter. There's so much stuff. It feels awful. You can't stand being in a certain room or being around a certain space because it just brings overwhelm. So things are not, going to stay the same. This is evolving. So accepting that, accepting the fact that things will change and that this is an ongoing journey to clean up your space from now, every now and then, is to clear different spaces as you feel that you want to. So don't get frustrated. Set the bar at the fact that this will be an ongoing process through your life. It's never going to be a one and done. All right. Now, once, once space, here's an example actually, once space opens up, how quickly do you fill it, right? You have maybe a shelf and you cleared out your pantry and there's a whole shelf there. You're like, what am I going to do it? Your mind is going crazy thinking, what am I going to put there? I need to put something there. It shouldn't be empty, right? So you fill it up really quick. So play with the space you have, knowing that it's going to change and evolve, and be okay to let that go. So I want to give you another diffuser blend if this is a struggle for you, okay? And let me take a look at the chat box really quick. I promised you guys I would check here and there. Let's see, Elaine says, I grew up with a junk room in our house. So yeah, everybody's got some space, junk drawer, junk room, whatever it is. So of course, you're wired to do that as a person, right? But you can break your old patterns. It just takes a little bit of time. So the letting go diffuser blend that I want to give you today is really simple. Many of you probably have these already. Is 1 drop of ginger, okay? 1 drop of ginger, 2 drops of that wild orange that I have in my water right now. So 2 wild orange, okay? And 1 patchouli. You might not have that one. I don't know. It just depends on whether, how much of an oil stash you have. And again, if you don't have oils, I'm your girl. I'll take care of that for you. If someone invited you to this class, though, that introduced you to the oils already, make sure you go back to them and get your oils from them. All right. So let's talk about the breakdown of those. Oh, Penny says she had a junk basement. You guys are funny. Amy says, David had asked me many times if I was organizing again. So now you can go back and tell him, Jennifer said this is an evolving thing. So it's always going to keep happening. Let it go. All right, so your letting go blend is the ginger, the wild orange, and the patchouli. So here's why. Ginger creates movement. So be prepared to step out and apply what you learned. So I like that. It's getting you ready to let it go. Wild orange instills the belief that you can accomplish your dreams. It looks more than possible. It looks inevitable. Okay, isn't that great? Like it's going to happen, absolutely. Patchouli takes all that passion and strength and grounds it into your spirit. It is responsible for putting what you learn into physical action. That is so fantastic, right? So just 3 oils, ginger, wild orange, patchouli. Again, if your diffuser takes 8 or 10 drops, you would double this recipe. But I really like that one a lot, just helping you to let go. I don't know why sometimes my little forwarding thing works and sometimes it doesn't. Let's go back here. So free yourself from the clutter. That's what we want, because we won't have such a cluttered mind anymore. So again, take a look at your space. Do you see anything that doesn't serve a specific function? Okay, you might want to write that down. Do you see anything that doesn't serve a specific function? And what about something that looks displeasing to your eye? Those are usually the areas you want to kind of get started with, or maybe it's number 2 on your list. If it doesn't have a function, why is it there? And I know that sounds like basic, but we don't think about that when we're purchasing things. We like it, we put it in the house. Go out shopping again, we like it, we put it in the house. But is it serving a purpose? Is it serving you? Or is it just taking up space and collecting dust? And now you have to dust it, and it's aggravating and it's frustrating because you're like, why do I have all this stuff that I have to dust? So definitely look at that and think about that. Does it serve you? Does it serve a specific function? Is it pleasing to your eye, or is it not? We're all guilty of bringing this stuff in our home. So the problem with all of this, we call it clutter, is that it can distract us and weigh us down energetically. So back to Feng Shui, it's absolutely going to block flow of positive energy. Absolutely. It's going to weigh us down. And in your mind, you're wondering, why do I feel so heavy and so overwhelmed? It could be just these few things around your space, right? So to mend this, Have a designated space for everything ultimately, okay? You're going to ultimately work through things over time, right? So here's a couple easy things to think about, and hopefully this helps you. Do you have a place to put your keys? Do you have a place to actually put your keys, or are they all over the place? They're in different places all the time, all right? Do you have a place to put your mail? Do you have a place to put your smartphone? Okay, those are just a few things. Are there designated spaces for just those simple things? So I'm not talking about going out and spending a lot of money on those organized closets or anything like that. We're not talking about spending a lot of money here, just thinking small and working at that. So recently, many of you know, and some of you don't, that my husband and I, we created an Airbnb experience so that people can really enjoy, unplug, replenish themselves. And of course, they'll have experiences with the essential oils and aromatherapy during their stay. Well, that place, I'd love for you guys, I'll send you the link. That place is following all the things you're learning today. So once you learn it and now go back to that listing and look at all the pictures we have in our listing, you're going to recognize how I designated this to have balance and flow throughout every room of that cabin. And you'll notice things that, even just like the little succulents that I put in there, that they bring happiness and grounding, you know. So by the end of this, and again, I'm going to send you the listing. I want you to go through that because it's going to mean different things to you now. Now you'll recognize how I don't have any blockages, how things are placed in certain areas because I followed these principles very authentically to me, though, because of what I wanted this cabin to be, have a very good purpose for those to come and have some great self-care. All right. So one of the shops I have to tell you that I love, was Ross. If you don't have Ross where you live, there's probably something equivalent. But Ross is a great store to go. And at the back of the store, they have home goods. It changes all the time. You never know what's going to be there. That was a great place that we picked up little things like mirrors, key racks, you know, places so that people, when they came in, they know they automatically had a place to put something. And so you can check some of those stores. I'd love for you to put in the chat box some of your favorite stores to find home goods, home furnishings, things like this that aren't going to cost a lot. So I'd love for you to do that so that everyone on the class today can actually benefit from that. So go ahead and put that in the chat box. All right, so slowing the energy flow. Where there's a direct line of sight between the front and the back doors, the energy is shooting too fast, okay? So if you come in a door and there's nothing in the way, then it's going through too fast. It's out the door before you know it, all right? So that's important to have furnishings and things around, but to make sure it's not too much as well. And you will feel it, you will feel that. So slow down the movement of energy by breaking up space. And here's a couple of ideas of how you could do that. When you come into a door, you can put an area rug. You can put artwork on the walls. You can put an entry table into that doorway entry. And that way it helps move energy. Again, think of the water coming through your front door. Does it glide easily and gently through the house, or is it rushing out? Or is it blocking and it's all of a sudden it's a dam, you know? So think about gracefully that movement is going gracefully through your home. Okay, so area rugs, artwork on wall, entry tables, things like that. And in this picture, you see that the entrance is actually, you can't see the entrance, but you see the mirrors and the lamp and that hallway entry table with a couple little seating areas. So that's really beautiful. Okay. The front, let's see. What else was that? Oh, couple things to watch out for. All right. With the entryway specifically, because a lot of times this is where there's blocked energy. It's where the energy enters your home. So it's a very important area. So this could be the area you work on first. Through my holistic health coaching, actually one of my clients, this was the first thing she wanted to work on, in the time that we had together. And so she felt in just a couple of sessions, she felt so much better. She was so productive in her home. We started with the entryway of her home. It changed everything like that for her. The next session, she's like, I want to do more of this because I feel so much better. So know that little by little, you know, all of this is possible. So make sure you don't block it with shoes. Who does shoes? Who puts shoes all over the place, right? So don't block it with shoes. If you like to take off your shoes when you enter, make sure it's set aside and you designate an area. Maybe you have a mat, a little rug, maybe you have a little shelf, something like that, where it's neat and tidy and not blocking anything, but it actually looks pleasing, okay? No other clutter. We don't want any clutter at the entryway. Don't just have it carelessly, like keys and sunglasses, hats, shoes, jackets strewn all over the place. We want to have a place so it looks nice and tidy and it's welcoming now to actually put your keys down, hang your jacket, whatever it is, okay? If you face a wall as you walk into the door, put something between you and the wall. That way you avoid feeling cornered in, okay? Like all of a sudden you hit a wall, and physically when you first maybe did that when you entered in your home or you bought your home, you might have felt that way, but maybe you forgot about that now. So make sure there's something, artwork, mirror, something like that. If you have a closed space where you walk in and there's a wall right there, something to break that up. Artwork is great, but you can make it yourself. If you enjoy being creative, you can make your own things. I know recently I got a like 10-pack of canvas at Ross, and my daughter and I like to do acrylic painting, and we just buy paints and paint, but you can draw, you can do watercolor, you can do decoupage, or you can pay somebody to do something like that. So it doesn't have to, art doesn't have to cost a lot. And some of these larger box stores, they actually have artwork for very affordable pricing. So again, look for those favorite places where you can pick up something that you think would look good in an area and you do not have to spend a lot of money. But this slows down the energy of your home. We want it to flow nice and easy. So artwork is really good. That doesn't mean you have to have every wall filled. It, you know, just a little bit here and there. If it looks like, ooh, that's so pleasing, it pops, you know, then you did a really good job. If there's art everywhere and it feels cluttered and heavy, we need to start taking away some of the artwork. And actually, that could be very hard and very, especially if it's memorabilia. So great way to take art down and photos down is actually getting a good old scrapbook or a photo album. They still sell them, and putting some of those in there so you could still enjoy them, but they're not all on your wall, okay? I'm not saying you have to get rid of it, but figuring out a different way. For me, I have actually this, at Michael's, they sell these really cool boxes in all different shapes and sizes that are decorated. Usually they're 50% off, and you can get one of those and put, you know, photos that you still want to keep, but maybe you don't want to have on the wall. And now all of a sudden you can fit a lot more in that box than versus things framed everywhere, okay? So that gives you ideas of how to add artwork and also possibly bring some artwork down if it feels cluttered. Now, artwork, I want to give you some playful oils that you can diffuse, because sometimes we struggle to find that of like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. And I'm getting so overwhelmed just even thinking about putting artwork on. So there are certain oils that help you energetically become more playful and become more creative. So I wanted to tell you about those. You can diffuse any of these or apply them topically. So ylang ylang is one of them. And I love ylang ylang. It's the oil of the inner child, so it connects you with your inner child. It brings you back to a childlike state of wonder and awe. When you were little, wasn't the entire world exciting, full of adventure? You can experience this as an adult too by using ylang ylang. Again, I'm using this book. I love it, that Desiree Mangadog put out for us. So ylang ylang is really, really good for this. Another one is actually peppermint. So peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart, a joy, just very, very happy, vibrant, all right? So I'll tell you a little bit more about peppermint and why this would be good for helping you if you feel overwhelmed with the idea of putting artwork in. It brings the joy of being alive. Again, that buoyant heart. Another oil is lime, which is no stranger now to us. We learned about that already earlier. And lime brings a feeling of gratitude for everything and everyone that you come in contact with. It is the oil of having a zest for life, right? And the last one I want to tell you about is bergamot, which is something I've been using a lot starting in the fall through now. It inspires you to be authentic and share your true self with the world. It's also the oil of self-acceptance, and you can put it on your solar plexus, which is basically between the belly button and just below the bra strap or the chest bone area there. And that just helps you center yourself to be true to yourself and be really authentic to yourself. So I love bergamot, but any of those oils you can diffuse at any time. So ylang ylang, peppermint, lime, and bergamot. Let me actually check the chat box for a second here. Let's see here. Oop, where did my chat box go? Here we go. So, oh, great. These are really good. Laura says she loves Amazon and Ross. So Mary says paper, paper, and more paper. Marshalls and TJ Maxx, great ideas, you guys. Elaine loves rugs over wooden floors. Amy says TJ Maxx and a thrift store. Thrift store. We did a lot of thrifting for the cabin. Actually, we got whatever we could from thrift stores, and a lot of times we were repurposing it and putting some paint on it, whatever it was. So yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money and have some fun. When you know what you're going to do and you have a purpose for something and then go out and shop, it becomes fun because you're like, I'm going to find the right thing for this. Penny says a ylang ylang is a favorite. Great. So let's see. Maximize your natural light. This is something that most people do, are very aware of. This is whatever natural light you have to maximize it. Don't go crazy on putting curtains up all the time unless you need to block a neighbor or you plan on being naked in that room. Maybe put a curtain or some kind of blind that you can open and shut, but otherwise let that natural light flow in. That is, that's Mother Nature trying to come in and help you with your energetic self, and just having that positive energy coming in. So if you're really lucky to have enough of those windows and areas, make sure you let it come in and just greet it, and you will be more positive. It helps us with our mindset too, and keeping away any kind of depressed feelings and things like that. If you don't have natural light, what you can use is mirrors, okay? Strategically placing mirrors to reflect the light. It creates an illusion of the room being more spacious, brings more light into your home. So I love mirrors. And again, we got some great mirrors at Ross for the cabin, and we really strategically put mirrors in certain places to open it up even more. And it has a purpose too, because the full length mirrors in the 2 bedrooms, people love to see themselves and check and, am I wearing this or whatever it is. They like that. So really nice mirrors, and my favorite place is Ross for that. Oh, I don't know why this does not forward sometimes, you guys. All right, clean your windows. All right, I'm not very good at this. Confession time. I am so bad at the cleaning of the windows thing. I do have a cleaner that comes in every couple weeks, but she doesn't do windows. So I have one big window, and if you've been to my house, you know which one it is. And I go out there every few months and I clean it. It looks so much better when I do, and I feel better when it, so it works. When you clean your windows, you feel instantaneously better. But yeah, the dust from the road and all that just gets it dirty really quickly. But definitely try to keep those windows clean more often if you can. And there's a great essential oil recipe that only uses white vinegar, lemon essential oil, and a little bit of water. Works great. That has been my best window cleaner ever. I used to use Windex and all those toxic stuff that I no longer use because I was breathing that in. It was making me sick. And now I make my own for years now. And so if you don't have that recipe, message me afterwards, and I'm happy to share that with you. Plant life. All right. So in the chat box, I'm curious, do you have a green thumb or do you not? Okay, do you like plants or do you not? And I'm going to give you a little hack after we talk a little bit more about this. So plants are energy sources, all right? And they bring freshness, they bring life, but sometimes you don't have a green thumb, you don't want to take care of things, or maybe you travel a lot back and forth to a couple different houses. You have a house in the mountains, house at the beach, whatever it is, and you don't want to have to deal with the plants. Um, so I'm going to give you a hack for that. But plants do bring vitality, absolutely bring vitality to the space you're in. They also have, certain plants are really good at taking away toxins from materials in the environment you're in. What I mean by that is you buy a new piece of furniture and whatever fabric that it's in was coated with very toxic ingredients that you are breathing in, and this just off gases. For the first couple of years, it's off gassing. And so a great way to clean that up naturally is to bring a Boston fern in, or any of the ferns, and other different plants, because they do a job for you. They actually take up those toxins on your behalf. So we thank the plant for doing that. And so if you've got new furniture, whether you're a green thumb or not, you might want to bring in a fern, at least for a little while. When it dies, you can get rid of it. That probably means it soaked up a lot of that garbage that gets sprayed on that furniture. But definitely plants are really good. So when you're picking out a plant, make sure you choose plants that you're able to care for. So that might not be, ask, the gardener or the people that you're buying it from. If you're here locally in St. Pete, I love buying from Willow Tree Nursery. Willow Tree Nursery is family owned and operated. They have staff, they care, and they have a really nice variety of house plants as well as outdoor plants. So that's my favorite here in St. Petersburg. And but find somewhere you can shop and bless somebody, a local business owner would be a great idea. So understanding how much attention it needs is important, and that's where you can ask for their guidance. Consider the light you have in your area. So when you go there and shop for a plant, you might want to first take a picture with your phone, show them and say, this is what I'm working with here. I'm looking for a plant. I don't have a lot of time. I just want to water it once a week, whatever it is. Make sure you explain that to them. Or maybe you're like, I want something that blooms. I want flowers. I want to look forward to that plant blooming. Tell them that. All right. Even in low lit spaces too, don't be afraid to take a picture and say, like, there is no sunlight, but this is where I want my plant. They're going to have an option for you. So don't be afraid of that as well. Now, I promised you a little hack: fresh cut flowers. Fresh cut flowers do great. So if you do not like to care for plants, then next time you go grocery shopping, buy yourself some fresh cut flowers, put it in a vase. You can extend the life by putting a little bit of tea tree oil in the water. There's a lot of different hacks for that. Some people put baking soda, all sorts of things, but 1 drop of tea tree oil in the water and put your cut flowers there. And then about midweek, you can cut them a little bit more, refresh the water, and get another round out of that. I'd love to hear your hacks in the chat notes so that everyone benefits from that, because I've heard like probably 10 different ways to extend the life of fresh cut flowers. But I'd love for you guys to put that in the chat right now to help each other out, and I want to learn too. So that is a wonderful way to bring the plants in, and you don't have to keep watering them. You just have those fresh cut flowers. When they're done, you get some more. All right. Don't block your own path. All right. So now we're getting into making sure doors are positioned right, beds are positioned right. So the doors, let's talk about the doors for a second. We want to make sure that you can open it at least 90 degrees, okay? So making sure that sometimes there's so much clutter in a room, we can't open the door, we barely can get into the room, right? That is really not good for your energy, okay? So making sure you can at least open it 90 degrees. If they can't open all the way every time you use them, you'll be reminded that you can only receive a portion of the opportunities available. So hopefully that drives it in for you to take care of that door, all right? So if it's only partial and opens a little bit, there's so much more opportunity that come into your life and it's not getting to you, okay? So definitely make sure that door can open. While you're at it, make sure that if there's squeaky doors, they get some WD-40 on there, something that will take care of the hardware so that it's working correctly. Squeaky doors are not good. We want to make sure every door can open properly and with ease, all right? There's 3 positions that you're going to want to write down here that bring attention. The first one is the bed. The bed represents yourself, okay? So your bed represents you. A desk represents your career, and a stove represents wealth, believe it or not, okay? So a bed represents you, the desk represents your career, and a stove represents wealth, all right? So when you're in any of these positions, make sure that you can see a door without being in direct line of it, okay? So what that means is if you have, if you set your bed and desk up a diagonal position from the door, okay? So when you come in to a door, you want to see the bed, but not directly head on, right? So if you're coming in a door and the bed is right there, that's not good. You know, have it actually diagonal or set off to the side. But when you're laying in bed, you still want to be able to see the door. Does that make sense? So bedrooms can be tricky. And some people will actually put it dead on, like you walk in the door, boom, there's the bed. And when you're laying in bed, the door is like right there. That is not good. If that's the only wall you can put it on, shift it over a little bit so that there is a bit of a diagonal if you can, all right? Same thing with the desk. You don't want to have a doorway straight on from where you're working like that. We want it over to the side, something like that. Now with the stove, the stove's always up against a wall, or usually is up against a wall. So when you're standing at it, you don't necessarily face the door. But again, you don't want, this doesn't usually happen, so it's not a problem. But when you come into the front door of your home, usually there's not the stove like dead on with it. So really the main areas are your desk and your bed and where those positions are. So be aware of that commanding position. If it's too striking, too dead on, that's not actually good. Remember, the water coming in your door needs to flow nice and gentle. Sleeping, one of my favorite topics to talk about, and not so easily able to obtain a good night's sleep. So again, with essential oils, absolutely get a diffuser in your room. Diffusers are very good, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, why, because it hits one of the 5 elements. But diffusing Serenity is a really good idea. Serenity is called the restful blend for a reason, and there's been clinical trials done on that to help you have a nice, good night's sleep. You can also, if you don't have a diffuser, you can do a Serenity room spray. Okay, you can do that. I do recommend you get a diffuser because it has another purpose that you're going to learn about in a minute. But a room spray works fine in a pinch. You can fill some, just a spray bottle with some Serenity, add water, and then make it a routine as before you go to bed, just spray around your room and really have that aroma in the room so that when you lay down with your head on the pillow, you're ready to go and drift off into a nice sleep. Make sure the head of the bed, if at all possible, is facing the north. Okay, so the head of the bed, north is best. North represents quieting of the mind. Okay, if you're not sure where the north is, you can take out your phone and find the compass on your phone. Most smartphones have a compass feature, and you can stand in your bedroom and just have that laid out and figure out where is north. So headboard, or the head of the bed, if you don't have a headboard, head of the bed needs to be at the north, okay? That's the best place to get a good night's sleep. It also provides, the north represents and promotes warm, restorative, a safe feeling, and it comes from a deep sleep or hibernation. So this is a really good thing to do, again, is to do that, is make sure the head of the bed is there. Let me check on the chat box here, see what you guys are up to. Green thumbs. Okay. Mary says more like a black thumb. Ray says black thumb, I kill everything. Oh, Elaine loves plants. I have a brown thumb. This is great. This is so funny. Penny says I'm going to start putting more in the farmhouse. She hates houseplants. So You could put some fresh cut flowers. So Amy uses the packet that comes with the flowers and then has used aspirin before. My grandson says he needs peace to sleep. He's 11. Okay, what if it's not possible for the bed to be facing north? Just know that that is the best place. They don't actually, Feng Shui doesn't give you another option. So it's not like, you know, east, west, south is actually going to be miraculously better. It is the north. So you'll just have to deal with the other things, just trying to make sure for best case scenario that you have the rest of the room doing well, of that the bed is offset from the doorway. And then in a minute, I'm going to tell you how you can actually bring more things into that bedroom to make it really nice. So again, this is just ideal situation. Penny, I put my feet and, oh, the Serenity, yep. My mother-in-law hates houseplants. I love them. Renee says, what about in front of a window with curtains? Oh, you mean, Renee, do you mean the bed in front of a window? That's fine, actually. Window, curtains, head of the bed is fine there. You know, that's all good. And it's going to help bring in flow when you want it to, when the curtains are open and when the curtains are closed. It blocks it a little bit, but it's soft. So that's fine. That's not a problem. Yes, the bed. Okay, great. Great questions, you guys. All right, let's move on to hallways, because that can be a little bit of a struggle of trying to figure out how to make a hallway not cluttered, but having something there so that that energy isn't zooming right through the hallway. All right, so hallways are like arteries where energy moves and circulates through your home. So we want it to move through the hallways, but we want it to move in a nice slow pace or pace. So don't hesitate to pepper the walls with some artwork, just minimal little things here and there. Photographs work well. Again, that artwork that we talked about, but especially for long hallways. All right, so too much empty space and the energy is going to just zoom right through it too fast. So if there's room, you can put a little table there, but a lot of hallways are really only available, the wall space is available. All right, oop, there we go. So clearing out the closet. You knew I was going to get to this, right? So clearing out your closet. This is a beautiful picture, but come on. I've seen this in the movies, and I do know a few people who have closets like this, but that's pretty much it. All right, so have grace with yourself again, and just, you know, make it more appealing for you to be able to get to your closet and get to the clothes that you want to get to. I think it's really important to go through your closet once a year at least. All right, so make time to do that and decide ahead of time who you're going to donate to. And that can be fun in and of itself, because you can really bless someone's life, and especially a purpose. Battered women's shelters, you know, it doesn't have to go to Goodwill. It can go there, but you can actually find a church group or something that really, you know, hits home to you for a cause. Maybe it's an animal shelters thrift shop, you know, whatever it is, you know, pick the thing, pick the store and the shop that you want to donate to, and start collecting those clothes and just let it go. All right, so make time to do that. You know, you're going to come across things that you're going to say to yourself also, I'm going to fit into that. All right, so if it's been there for a while and you've been saying that for a while, just donate it, because it's not really serving you. It might even bring depression or frustration. So only if the item is like, oh, I love that. And maybe you don't, maybe it's a sweatshirt you've had for 20 years. It has other memories. Keep it because it brings you joy. All right. But if they're the things that are actually, when you look at it, you're like immediately frustrated because you're like, I really thought I was going to fit into that last year. Here I am, I still can't fit into it. Maybe it's time to actually think about letting it go. All right. So definitely things that bring you joy. So here we talk about those donations again. When we no longer have a use for it, it is best to thank that item. Thank it for all that it provided you. and then allow it to reach someone else and to bless someone else, somebody who can make more use of it. All right. So think of it that way. Bless it. Thank it for it's how it served you for your life, for that period of time in your life. And now it's time to bless somebody else. So that makes giving away things a little bit easier. And like I said, choosing where you're going to donate can also make things much easier so that it's very meaningful for you. So I'm curious, go ahead and put in the chat box if those of you already have a favorite place to donate, put that in the chat box. That will give other people ideas of where they might donate, because maybe you've never donated before and you might have a mountain of clothes to go through and just never have done it. That's okay. You start small, but you might get some ideas from others in the chat box of where are they donating. So tips on furniture arrangement. Each room, you want to be the largest piece of furniture first, okay? And actually, let me know if you guys are muted. There we go. I hear a little bit of background there, so I just muted. So making sure you start with the biggest piece of furniture first, all right, whether it's like a sofa, bed, desk, whatever that is, and put it as far away from the door or doorway as possible while still facing that direction. So this way, while you're using the furniture, you're in a position of actually increased power, is what Feng Shui says, and decreased vulnerability. So that's what they're saying with Feng Shui is the largest piece, put it further away from the doorway, but yet you still can actually see it. So if you think like a cat, here's an example. Think like a cat. Generally, cats will back up against a corner, and that way they have the best view. Nobody can sneak up on them, right? And it gives them a position of a commanding position. So think that way. You wouldn't want anybody to sneak up on you, so don't put the big sofa right by the doorway where you can't actually see. So those are just a little bit of tips on furniture arrangement. All right, let's get into kind of a final part of our time together is the 5 elements. And some of you might have thought I was going to start with this. A lot of Feng Shui, they start with the 5 elements, but what I find is people are so confused because they're now focused on putting these 5 elements in the home, and they didn't learn some of this foundational, giving you examples of different things. So don't get crazy about putting all of these 5 elements in. I do warn you because it could freeze you from what you're trying to do and making progress. It is not, you don't have to have all 5 elements in a room. So here's the biggest thing about this is actually feeling what the room, see what it feels like. If it still feels out of balance, then that's when you actually look at the elements and see what of the 5 elements might be missing that I might want to add. Don't start with that. Start with other things of how does this feel to me and the different things that I had already shared with you. And then if it's still not feeling quite right, then look at these 5 elements, okay? So we've got water, metal, earth, fire, and wood. So water, metal, earth, fire, and wood. And in Chinese philosophy and with Feng Shui, this is what makes up the world. So here's a quick breakdown and giving you ideas of how you can, because some of them you might be surprised don't fit into the category you thought. Okay, so here's an example, wood. So to add that wood feeling, the wood energy into a room includes fresh and silk flowers. Yep, it does. So you wouldn't have thought that. You would have maybe thought that was in the earth category, right? It is not. So fresh cut flowers, silk flowers, that is actually a wood element. Any kind of plants are in the wood category. And then also wooden furniture, of course, anything cotton or natural fibers. So if you had, we had put like a jute rug in front of our fireplace, and that would have been part of wood, okay? So anything like that. So the big surprise there, I think, is the fresh and the silk flowers. The next category is fire. This is where the diffuser comes in. Yay, diffusers, right? Diffusers are part of fire, all right? So that is one thing. If you have unscented candles, that's part of fire. Wouldn't use those scented candles unless they've got some really good essential oils in them, because those are synthetic fragrances and they make us, you know, have hard time breathing and things like that. So try to stay away from the candles that are scented with perfumes and fragrances and things like that. Any kind of lighting is fire. Sunlight, the natural sunlight coming in. Also, any of these colors. So anything with the shade of red, pink, or purple. So red, pink, or purple is fire. Also, any electronic equipment, computers, things like that. And anything in animal print, which I thought was funny. So anything in animal print is fire. And then the last one I want to mention, which is really popular for the last several years, is Himalayan salt lamps. Himalayan salt lamps are wonderful if you're trying to bring in the element of fire into a room. So the next one is earth. So earth is anything in earth tones. So when you think about earth tone colors, you've got your brown, beige colors, green, those are all earth tones. Also shapes of square and rectangular, okay? So a good example of that would be a sofa table or an ottoman. Those are bringing in earth, actually. And then any images of landscape. So if you have artwork and maybe you have an area that doesn't have anything earth related to it and you want to put some artwork up, you can look for a landscape, okay? The next one's metal. And this is the part, like in our cabin, I'll tell you, it was a little bit of a struggle. It's a log cabin. It's an actual log cabin. So there's a lot of wood there. And so it was really important, and a lot of earth because of the colors. So it was important for me to break up each room and bring some other elements in. And that's why we went with metal chairs to go with the kitchen table, to bring a little bit of metal. And then there's metal around the fireplace and things like that. So those are metal. So obviously anything made of metal, any kind of aluminum, gold, silver, anything like that. But also metal is rocks and stones, which you wouldn't expect, but rocks and stones belong to the metal category. So if you like crystals and things like that, it's a really good way to bring in the metal category in Feng Shui. The last category is water. And obviously any kind of water fountains or flowing water is wonderful. Aquariums for fish or a little fish bowl, that's a really good way to bring in some water. But also anything with an asymmetrical shape, wavy form, anything that is just different shape, sculptures, things like that. Anything in the color black, okay? Black represents water. And the last thing is mirrors. Because of the reflective nature, it represents water. So those are some really cool ways you can bring in the 5 elements. But again, you're looking at if the room still doesn't quite feel right to you, then that's when you look at these elements and figure out what's actually missing, what might you want to bring into the area. All right. So now you're ready to start tackling things, right? So in the chat box, I'd love for you to commit to one thing you're going to do. So go ahead and chat that in, and just, you know, if you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine, but I'd love for you to chat that in, because anything that you're on this call for a reason, because you wanted to learn more about this, which makes me believe that you're ready to do something. So anything we actually put in writing and put out there, we tend to actually act on. So don't just think it, write it down, and also put it in the chat box, because then I feel like you're going to do it, right? And I want to be there to help you with that, all right? So get started by writing it in. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to email you all of the resources. So if you really enjoy this stuff, you're going to really enjoy the resources I sent you. There'll be little links to learn a little bit more about all of this whole topic. So I really thank you for your time, and I'm excited for you guys to get started. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me also if you're struggling and you're like, I just need, what is that diffuser blend again? You know, I just really need to get started on this. Now, if you're interested in working with me, you can work with me in a couple different ways. Right now, I actually have, I'm a holistic health coach. So I do have holistic health coaching practice where I work with you one-on-one. We meet twice a month for 6 months. So I always have that program available. If you're interested in learning more about that, book a discovery call with me. So I'm going to actually stop my share and actually share my website with all of you so you can see where you can do that. But I do have a special going on right now. So, oops, let's switch to this here. So hopefully now you see the Herbal Cabinet website. Penny, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the Herbal Cabinet website? Great, awesome. So on the Herbal Cabinet website, you would actually just click book now. You could see the Airbnb there, but click appointment and book a discovery call. It's free so that you can learn if I'm the right person for you or if this is something that you're interested in. So you can do the discovery call. It's 30 minutes long. And then also if you're interested in the essential oils, you can book a discovery call for that so we can figure out which oils to get started with. And like I said, they're 25% off. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is right now I have a special. If you're interested in just doing some health coaching, holistic health coaching for 3 sessions, I have a 3-session pack for $399 right now. And I've got that available for this month if you're just thinking like, I just have this specific thing that I want to work on and I just want 3 sessions with you, Jen, okay? So that is discounted. My normal hourly rate is $175. So that brings it down. So it's $399 for 3 sessions. And let me know if you want to work with that. The essential oils are beautiful. And I know many of you are part of our community. So there's ongoing free education to keep learning. And if you can't find the different classes coming up, let me know because stuff is happening every single week. So I hope that you guys got a lot out of this. I promise to keep this to the hour. I'm slightly over a little bit. I'm going to go back and read the comments and get your email out to all of you. But I hope you guys have a great day and I hope you've learned a lot. Bye for now.